All right, students, we're going to go over the golden rules of ceramic construction. You must follow these rules, or you could end up with your piece in a million little pieces. So, in order for you to have an actual animal come out of the kiln, you really have to make sure you follow these rules. Number one, clay can be no thicker than your thumb. I would say ½ inch to ¼ inch is an okay thickness of your clay walls, but any thicker than that, and you risk it having some air holes in it. This is with number 3 too, but when you have air pockets or air bubbles inside of the walls of your clay or just your animal in general, whatever you're building, the air will expand as it heats in the kiln. So the kiln gets up to anywhere from 1800 to 2200, if not more, degrees Fahrenheit. It gets really hot. So as that air expands, as it gets hotter, if it has nowhere to go, then it's going to break apart your clay piece and it will no longer be a whole piece. So you need to make sure that your clay walls are no thicker than your thumb. Also, if it is really thick, it takes a very long time to dry. So it also could seem dry to the outside, but it's still wet on the inside. That also can cause it to break in the kiln as it is firing if it's not fully dry. Rule number 2, in order for your clay to stick together, it must be scored and slipped together, especially when that clay is moist or leather hard. When you watch the video of me going through the clay construction of your animal, you will see this score, slip, and smush process. It will make more sense then. But basically what it is, if I was to put clay together like this, it is not as strong as if I was going to put clay together like this, kind of interlocking. So when you are attaching two pieces of clay together, you score it, which is like making lines in it. You score both sides and they fit together and interlock, making the bond stronger. Okay. Rule number 3, again, kind of relates to number 1, but trapped air can cause that clay to explode and break in the kiln. So you must hollow out forms. So if you have a large body for your animal, you can either like scrape the bottom to make it thinner from underneath where you couldn't really tell, or you can keep it whole and hollow out the middle. But you need to make sure that you have a hole somewhere on your animal so that the air inside can escape. Okay, so you can make a hollowed air pocket, but you must create a hole for that air to get out. If not, it will just break apart. Number 4, always handle your project with 2 hands. If you're walking around the classroom, like turning your animal in, use 2 hands. I know you could probably hold it in one, but let's just be extra careful and hold it with 2 hands in case someone runs into you or you run into something. It's going to keep your clay piece safe. 5th, never touch another student's work. It is not your work. It is not my work. Never touch another student's work. Students will hand me their work to put in a place where it can stay wet or start to dry out. But it is not your right to touch their work. If they ask you for some suggestions on something, give them your suggestions, but don't do it for them. They are not getting graded on what you do to their project. So make sure you are the only one touching your own work and you are not touching another one's. Let me know if you have questions about these, I call them golden rules of ceramic construction. The biggest thing is just making sure that we do not have too thick of walls and you hollow out forms and make an escape route for air. That's the biggest area where students end up with their pieces in a million little crumbs. So Let me know if you have questions. I will always check to see if you've met these requirements before I let it dry. But again, this is your responsibility. It is not my responsibility. I will help you, but I will not do it for you.